Sweet Peach Bubblegum, Grayscale has had a victory against the SEC in court. We are seeing the Bitcoin price pump up through. It has been a fantastic day, shocking everybody with finally a good result after so long. We were praying and we were hoping that this time might be different, but deep down we knew that it was always going to be a low chance just because of how corrupt garbage Gensler is himself with the SEC. They are working against the people. Thank God there is somebody in the justice system who knows how to read and who is not on the payroll of the US Fed, JP Morgan, and the other insider banking cartel. If we go down here, we can see, Bitcoin did an 8% rally. It's probably still going to have to settle around this zone and continue its path of friendship. We can also look at the weekly chart and see what's happened here. It is now around my golden rope. It is not 100% clear out of the zone, but we are still in the green here in terms of the super trend. So we are still flipped bullish. Nothing has changed. All of this was just bad news that always made us come back and touch my golden ropes. And now we're finally starting to see some action towards the other way. But of course, these are weekly candles, and look, they don't move much for Bitcoin. We need a bit of a bigger push. You know what's interesting? Now we have the GBTC. Now we're going to go through some juicy news just to show you. It's great news for the whole crypto industry today. The judge rules in favor of Grayscale. The SEC had been denying the Grayscale GBTC ability to convert into a Bitcoin ETF. So just to clarify, this does not mean it becomes an ETF right now. It just allows them to become an ETF in the future. Isn't it disgusting that the SEC, the corrupt piece of poop it is, was denying them their right to potentially make it into an ETF, to actually rescue investors? They were denying that right. They weren't even asking for it today. They just said, they asked, can we do it at some point in the future? They were saying no. So these people, they should be put in jail. Put them in jail so other people learn what happens to them from the people as the people revolt if they decide to take paychecks from the US Fed, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the other insider banking cartel scum. Their role is to stall the innovation. They can't stop it. Well, their goal is to add an extra 2 years of delays, because in those 2 years, they can install their own cronies. They can install whoever they want and the infrastructure they want to route the volume and the activity through, and then they can get the volume and the market share, and then they can change the laws later because they have #1 spot. That's their whole ultimate goal. They want to push the pause button. They stop innovation. They let their own cronies catch up. So the SEC is scum. There is no two ifs or buts about it. So this was the post itself, the DC circuit, right, ruling in favor of Grayscale. And, there's more to come as well. So with this big win, another big win for the crypto industry, it does make us wonder how long before the market itself starts to disregard the attacks on PulseChain, Hex, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, and others. Okay, that's something we got to think about because it's going to come soon. Eventually, we're just not going to care. That's what I think. I just had a feeling eventually, if the Bitcoin price goes high enough, I think we'll start to see a narrative shift in terms of, you'll start to see people say, well, people have done the numbers and they've realized America's only like 20% of the volume. So why are they ruling the rest of the world? Why should the whole world punish itself because of USA? There are a lot of countries out there who are more than happy to take on the activity, bring on the entrepreneurs, and help the innovation instead of squash it like the SEC and there's other evil scum. Altcoins are underpriced due to the SEC murky waters, and of course they await friendship. Make sure you got your fluffy slippers on today, friends, and don't forget, like, subscribe, bell button. I appreciate every single one of you. We're here to shake and shock the algorithm. Here we go. Infomatech saying one last bar before the real takeoff. Look, always with these types of actions, there's always something around the corner. It doesn't really matter. We're still in that part of the cycle where we got to wash out the weakness. Also got an interesting comment here from Ronald. Ronald saying, sell the news. The signal the bull market is back when BTC closes above 30K. Then it will probably skyrocket. Look, yeah, it's interesting. When it comes to sell the news, so I just want to let you guys know, that, you saw nobody was expecting this at all. So, look, it can still fade down. Of course, it can fade down, but no one, we were like, yeah, maybe they win, maybe they don't. The whole system's corrupt. So this isn't something that you just say like, oh, I'm going to take the other side. But don't forget, man, these things can fade back down. They can. It's at the end of the day, it is just market's perception of value, thin liquidity. What if Mt. Gox scares everybody? Anything can happen. And I want to show you the crux of the issue here. It's the GBTC ratio. So I manually constructed this chart here for you. You do GBTC times 1,000 because each share, it's a 1/1000th of a share. And then you divide it all by Bitcoin. And you have the Grayscale Bitcoin divided by real Bitcoin. It's about 0.74. So that's what the discount is. The discount's like 24, 26%. So you can see now, obviously, it's below the horizontal line here of mark. That's 1.0. So at around 1, this is what we all think. Okay, we all think if it gets to around 1, the gap is closed enough such that we usher in the new bull market. And it's probably going to line up perfectly in time with the cycle. That'll be interesting sometime after the halving. Because if you're an institution and you want to buy $100 million of Bitcoin, for example, there is no point for you to go to the public open market. You should just go buy GBTC. You're getting it 20% cheaper because they don't really care about it anyway. What are they doing? Storing value? They're just here to trade. They're going to dump it at 70K, 80K. They're going to make their 2X, pay their salaries, and declare victory for that year anyway. So it's not like they're doing anything special with it. They're not actually using DeFi or anything with the coins, and they don't really care. So it's just an encapsulated fake version of Bitcoin. That's what GBTC is, and they charge exorbitant fees for it. But it's an indicator nonetheless. So for everybody like me and you, we're just outsiders. We understand the game, but all these other people in suits and people who shave and they have shiny hair, these people, they want to play in this game of like, the concrete jungle and all the suits. And what's the most offensive part of it all to the people? How dare they hurt the people, by the way? The lawyers, right? So lawyers have interpreted all the information. The SEC just made everything up. They literally just fabricated everything. Complete lies, made everything up. Sad. Lawyers are saying the SEC just made it up when it comes to their decision about Grayscale Bitcoin Fund. It is obvious and clear to everybody. The US Fed friends, get this through your little peanut brain right now. The SEC is a puppet wing arm of the US Fed and the banking cartel. They are here to crush the crypto innovation in USA. They are corrupt and incompetent. They pretend like they're incompetent, but they're actually corrupt. Stop believing this news of, everything's just coincidence. They don't know what they're doing. Yes, they do know what they're doing. Do you honestly think they don't know what they're doing? How do you think they've had power for 50 plus years, for 100 years? What? Golly gee, they just always end up in power. They always end up grabbing more power. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. They are a puppet wing arm of the US Fed. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. Okay, they get these guys to go out as their henchmen to go and beat them up. It's just like if you were running one of those gangs, your motorbike gang, you go around, you beat up a few of the shop owners to give you a bit of the fees so they know who's boss, and then they can install whatever they want. So this is exactly what's happening. I mean, here you even have it here. Like, the DC Circuit Appeals holds that the SEC acted in an arbitrary and capricious, if they even say how you say it, capricious, friends. Capricumicus. That's the type of language they're using here, okay? They're just liars. What's this high IQ words? How do we just write lies? They just lie. They're liars, okay? They're liars. Just write lie, corrupt. That's it. Stop using these other jazz words. We don't understand these. This brain can barely compute the buy button, and you're trying to get us to understand what these words mean. So now we want to know, right? What's going on with PulseChain, Solana, Cardano, everything else? It is very obvious. The SEC is just making it up. PulseChain, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, they're making it up. Now, you might go through the evidence and say, okay, it doesn't seem like they're making up. For example, Richard Hart did go buy Louis Vuitton stuff, and Polygon does have an office, and Charles Hoskinson did raise money, etc. You might say that. Wrong. Don't believe their lies. They have a target first, and then they go make everything up. All right? It's like you saw somebody walking in the street with neck tattoos who's riding a motorcycle, and you're like, you know what? That person's guilty. Let me go try and find something. It's a witch hunt. That's what they do. Their goal is to stifle innovation. How come they suddenly had an epiphany this year? They go, oh, well, golly gee, let's go arrest everybody. Why didn't they do this years ago? It's because we were in a bull market. That's why. That's why they didn't do it. They had no power. I hope you understand this. No, I know you will understand this. They have no power when the prices are going up because there is no political will for anybody to listen to them at all, because they are stopping the party, even for the corrupt insiders. The insiders are in here making money along the way. You think they want the party to stop? No, they're here making money. JP Morgan, Citibank, all the other filthy insiders, and all the other deep state people. That's why they don't do anything. When do they do it? In the bear market. Surprise, surprise. They wait for the party to stop. Then when everybody's bleeding, then they say, well, now we got to do this and we got to take your regulations around and we got to upgrade this. It's all a bunch of baloney. They do this purposefully. It is planned. Then they fight you. Would you rather fight somebody when they're at their peak in round 2 of a fight, or would you rather fight them when they are on their knees, recovering at home, sick? That's what the SEC, that's what the US government is doing. They're here to attack, not all the US government, by the way. We have nice people out there, but I'm just saying the SEC and the corrupt insiders, they're here to attack us when we're weak. But what they don't know is all of us have mental health issues. All of us are on the spectrum somewhere. Nobody's giving up. They are arbitrary. They are evil. The SEC should be fired and replaced. They should put a new body up. Firstly, they should hand it off to the CFTC, and then they erect a new body and they figure out what to do. So this is how the future's going. We are going to win. It's only a matter of, how long it takes. Can we see a path? Fascinating comment here from Just Some Chick as well. Just Some Chick, you are just my friend. It just occurred to me, I worked for a lawyer who represented the MLM companies for 15 years. So MLM is those marketing things. It's basically a pyramid, but it's not really like a pyramid scheme. It's just people trying to hustle each other and trying to keep adopting new people just to sell and consume a product, okay? She mentions that industry is worth $200 billion and it survived hell and back, right? People still call them a pyramid scheme. We can make it. So you can see that there are these industries that fight it out. And we are seeing backlash already. So we saw US Congressmen, this was like literally just in 30 minutes ago, Mr. Warren Davidson calling to fire SEC Chairman Gary Gensler following the Grayscale win. So friends, of course, when you see this, you think, well, we've all been calling it. Yeah, but what this means is, I'm telling you, friends, humans, we have 2 abilities. We have the power to listen and learn through osmosis, and we also have the power to speak. You are listening to me. You're absorbing my messages. Our message is that strong and consistent, funnily enough, and it's through Twitter. It's funny. This little godforsaken place, Twitter, the words we type, they go out into the universe. People read these words and then they go speak about it later. When I make videos, I'm just letting you know, there are certain words I will use that I know I've only used that word once. I've never heard anybody use a word or an expression or something. And then I will find somebody who I know watches my channel. Maybe they have a channel. And then they will use those words too, like a week or 2 later. And I'm wondering, I go, wow, they used it from me. 1, I'm so flattered. But 2, maybe they don't even know they learned that or they remembered that off me. So that's how it spreads. And obviously all the words and messages I'm sharing with you, I got off other people too. I probably don't even remember all the places I exactly got them from. So this is what happens, just it spreads. This is good thing about humans. We are very open-minded like this. But now we're actually, in a positive way, we are spreading out to the people in Congress. They're seeing the corruption. So why do good people like this, why do good people like Warren, why does he actually care? Well, he knows, man. He's like, this guy became a government dude because he hates corruption, right? And now he's seeing, and obviously, Warren here is not on the paycheck. Probably, he's not getting a paycheck. He's not on the payroll of those insiders. He's probably just coming here trying to fight for the people, and there's going to be a lot of backlash. But as I've told you, the walls crack down once all the people realize that someone who's on the inside, like Mr. Warren Davidson, can't even get up anymore. This is actually what's been happening with the UFO tech. They do a lot of blocking, and you can't progress any more knowledge and public release information. And the more you push, the faster the dam will come down. But if people don't keep pushing, then nothing happens and it just disappears. So because there's too many of us who are poor, too many of us who are mentally ill, too many of us in the industry who are banding together, they literally have no chance because society doesn't even work with them. Hey, if all the poor people don't win anything at all, you've just crushed them beyond belief. There's literally nothing. It's a couple of rich dudes on an island drinking coconut water, but who's going to make your boats? Who are you going to whip into slavery to build your house? There's nothing to do anymore. So society only works when we are around. And it's funny, I even know this. So I'm like, yeah, they're going to shark us later on. They're going to do bad stuff to us later on. But we deserve some wins. We deserve some wins. It's actually beautiful and amazing to see. This is all lining up with the Bitcoin chart. It's fascinating to see. Are we the product of the Bitcoin cycle, or is the Bitcoin cycle a product of the business cycle, which is just us and our mentality? That's just something to think about, okay? So this is just me. If I was the SEC and I'm seeing all this, I'm like, uh-oh, hit the emergency button. And that would be start approving all the Bitcoin ETFs this week, next week. That's what I would do because we're coming for them. There's literally nothing else. This is their last saving grace is to approve the ETF and pump the crypto markets, because I promise you, friends, if we start pumping really fast, we're all going to forget how much we hate garbage Gensler. We're all going to forget how corrupt the SEC is. Imagine we are pumping and there are all these coins going up, and I'm sitting here making like 15 negative tweet posts a day saying how corrupt Gary Gensler is. Everyone would be saying, yeah, well, we know it's corrupt, man. Come and party, baby. You know, so that's exactly what happens. But hey, kind of hope they're not listening because I really want them out. But on the other hand, I do want some green bags to pump. Like, subscribe, bell button, tell mom and dad. It is a great day for crypto. Grayscale have defeated the SEC. The SEC are corrupt and incompetent. Catch you in the next one.